Hi, I'm Arlo Parks, and these are records in my life.
Let's go to the corner store and buy some fruit. I would do anything to get you out your room.
Yes, I can.
Oh, perfect. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. It feels a bit strange because we're going into, lockdown on our side of the world. So lots of reading and watching films. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. I was going to say, I hope you have a lot of binge-worthy television and good books and
Yeah.
food and all that lovely stuff to comfort. How long is the they project the lockdown for? Any ideas or?
They've said until the 2nd of December, I believe. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Well, tell us a little bit about you've released a couple of singles lately. Can you give us a bit of the skinny on those?
Yeah, so I released Eugene, Black Dog, Hurt, and Green Eyes this year, and they're all part of my debut album. Most of them, all the songs that I've actually put out have been written and recorded in Airbnbs because I kind of enjoy that comfort and that sense of intimacy. I'm so used to writing in my bedroom that most of them are written just in my friends' apartments. And it's been really beautiful to see how things have grown over this year, in terms of people's awareness of my tunes and people reaching out saying that my music has helped them. So that's been beautiful.
That's the nicest feedback you could most positive feedback you could get. That's terrific.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And are all these songs going to be, are we allowed to talk a little bit about your album that's dropping to February? Or is it all hush hush for now?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk a little bit. I want to keep it mainly secret, but we can talk
sure. So you said those songs are going to be on the record. The new,
yes.
That's fantastic. So are there any, whatever information you can give us about the new album? You can't tell us the title yet, right? Or did you?
Yeah, no, the title's announced. It's called Collapsed In Sunbeams.
Right, beautiful. Can you give us whatever you can on the record, and also tell us what song, if you can, you're most proud of and why?
So I mean, this album was written mainly during lockdown. It was a lot of, looking through old journals and focusing on the idea of nostalgia and the people and the situations that have shaped me. I wanted it to feel like a time capsule. And the song that I'm most proud of is probably a song called Hope, because I feel like it encapsulated that sense of hopefulness and optimism for the future. And I'm just proud of the imagery that I used, I guess. But yeah, it's mainly a secret. I want to see what people think when they hear it.
That's exciting. That's exciting news.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned a bit about hope. I was going to ask you, and I ask the artists once in a while, our guests. I mean, obviously, over the past year and a half, we've been living in turbulent times and challenging times, not only with COVID, but politically, obviously, and not just in North America, but in Europe as well. You felt a lot of it. What's a good record to give people a bit of hope, a bit of that kind of sends a peaceful message and might motivate people to vote with their feet?
That's an interesting one. I mean, for me, an album that always makes me feel warm is Mama's Gun by Erykah Badu. I think that's because it's an album that I grew up with, and it gives me the sense of being held. I think it's the same with D'Angelo. I think it's the richness of the textures always makes me feel like, I'm getting a little hug from the music.
Excellent. Thank you again for being on Records in My Life. This show is about you, the artist, and the albums that have inspired you. Let's go back to your youth, flashback. You're still young, obviously, but let's go back to your what album gave you kind of that moment, the impetus or that moment that decided, I want to sing. Like that was the magical moment, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
I think for me, a big one was probably Channel Orange by Frank Ocean, or Either Or by Elliott Smith. One of those two. Just because, although they're quite different, I think it was one of the first times that I was really moved by music. that, you know, hearing these stories and hearing these voices, it just really brought something very emotional out of me. And I wanted to make other people feel that way with my voice. And they seemed to be really trusting their tastes and be creating really idiosyncratic pieces of work. And it just inspired me to start doing my own music. Yeah.
And both great, fantastic records. Here's a fun question that can be from any time. If you could be a fly on the wall in the studio for any record, being any recording session, excuse me.
Wow. I think I would love to be in the room for the sessions where like Dummy by Portishead was being recorded, because I've always been so fascinated by the techniques that like Jeff Barrow was using, and I feel like I don't know, I think it would, because that's one of the records that's inspired me above everything. I think it would kind of give me, I don't know, an insight into how do you make those drums so grainy? Like how does she deliver, like how is she recording her vocals? I think the nerd in me would love to kind of figure out how they created those atmospheres and those textures. Yeah.
That's a great answer. And congratulations. I think you won. Is it now, if I botch it's the BBC Introducing Artist of the Year, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a great, sounds like a great title.
Yeah, thank you.
So continuing on with that topic, are there any young artists from the UK that you've been really enjoying lately?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been listening to a lot of this artist called Celeste. She has this gorgeous, soulful voice. I think she's inspired by kind of Minnie Riperton and Amy Winehouse. There's this song called Strange that I've been obsessed with lately. I've been listening to a lot of kind of my younger peers. So there's this artist also called Billy Martin who makes kind of folky, John Martin, Nick Drake-esque music. It's very kind of gentle and calming. I've been loving that as well.
Nice. Elon Musk, like him or not, you have been invited to go to take a ride to the moon, to go on a rocket. You're allowed to take one record with you because there's a turntable there. So
wow,
you gotta pick the one which is gonna.
Wow. I think I would. Which one would I pick? I think I'd pick Caramel by Connan Mockasin, because I think that would just be like, for me, whenever I listen to it, I feel like I'm like on another planet. Like it's so strange and gooey and melting, and I think that would fit the mood pretty well.
Interesting. Yeah, because those vocals are kind of trippy and out there, right?
Yeah.
And you're traveling through space or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So are there any albums that this is the second lockdown, are there any records which you've discovered during the previous one, or right now, maybe in the last, I guess it's 48 hours for you, or 24 hours, that you've really, really grown to love?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I actually listened to that James Blake record, Overgrown, for the first time during the first lockdown. And I was completely blown away by I think, you know, it's been a weird, chaotic time. And for me personally, I've gravitated towards quite emotional records just because, you know, that makes me feel comfortable and kind of wallowing in the melancholy a bit. But I enjoy how unique his presentation of melancholy is, and his production is really interesting.
Is there a record you'd like to hear if you had the chance, and any artist from you know, live or dead, live perform?
In Rainbows by Radiohead, 100%.
That's a great answer. A lot of artists have referenced that one. Thank you so much for Arlo for being on the show. Really, really appreciate it. A few more questions and we'll let you go. And weed, water, or wine to write or listen to your favorite record?
I think so. Do you mean like which one do I indulge in when I'm writing?
Yes, I should have rephrased that one. One for listening to your favorite record, and one for writing. One of those.
Oh, okay. Wine for listening to my favorite record, and water for writing. I need to be completely level.
What would you consider the record when you think back to your high school days? What would you consider the album of your generation? Like right away, which record reminds you of school?
Reminds me of school. I Thought I Was an Alien by Soko. For me, yeah.
If you could have a glass of wine or if you could have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine with any living artist, alive or dead, sorry.
Ooh. Aphex Twin.
Any words of wisdom for your fans and our audience?
I think the idea of being patient with oneself, especially in these times. I think if you need to rest or if you're feeling unproductive, that's okay, because we're living through very turbulent times. So just being patient with yourself and taking things one day at a time.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and
Yeah, thank you
good
so
luck.
much.
I hope you discover some good TV and good books and good
Thank you.
music, and good luck with the new record and everything else. You have a bright future, so we hope to
Thank
see
you very much.
We hope to see you soon.
Yeah, big
Take
love.
care.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Mark Henning, the other half of Records in My Life. Love it that you made it to the end of the video. Please leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, and subscribe. If you really dug the show, we'd love it if you'd consider supporting us over at patreon.com/RIMLTV. Cheers and see you next week.